Hello crafty friends, Roxanne here from craftwagon.ca. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada, and today I would like to share my Just Breathe card with you. Be sure to like my video and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date on all my crafty adventures. Let's get started. For today's card, you will need the following supplies: colorful season stamp set, seasonal layers Thinlit dies. We will be using the Muskoka chair from the set, this one here. We'll be cutting that out with crushed curry. Also, you will need the Seaside Textured Impressions Embossing Folder, the mini Chevron crushed curry ribbon, your Versamark Ink Pad, the H clear block, white embossing powder, tempting turquoise stamp set, tempting turquoise ink pad. A nice to have is Embossing Buddy. You'll also need an aqua painter, your Wink Stella pen. And the material list is a piece of tempting turquoise, cut at 8.5 by 5.5 and folded. A piece of black cardstock, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Another piece of black cardstock, 1.5 by 4. A piece of watercolor paper, cut at 2.5 by 4. And you'll have a little bit left over scrap, so you can use this to practice your watercoloring. And then I used the crushed curry to cut out the Muskoka chair. The first thing that we'll do is the greeting for the card. So we'll take our small piece of black cardstock and the Embossing Buddy. So the Embossing Buddy has a bit of chalk inside of it, and what you do is you rub it across your cardstock, and that takes the static out. So when you use the ink pad and the embossing powder, it just sticks to where you've used the watermark ink. So I'm just inking this up right now, and I went with the Just Breathe greeting from the stamp set. And there we go. And then what we'll do is get the white embossing powder. And we'll sprinkle that on top. Tap it off. And there's a little bit over here on the E I want to get. Give it a little flick. And now I'll just take that to the embossing tool, heat set that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and I heat set that with the embossing tool, and I also ran my card front or my card base through the Big Shot using the Seaside folder. So I just did that front half of that like that, so I can show you quick how to do that. So this part here with the writing, the Sizzix Stampin' Up! Writing, face up, will give you the embossed impression. If you do it on the other side, you'll get a debossed impression. It's quite smooth, but the impression goes into the paper where the embossing pops up. So what I did to do the card this way is I wanted the waves to go back and forth on the paper this way. So then I took my card front, I put it in the folder like this, and then I ran that through the Big Shot. And when I ran that through the Big Shot, this is what I got at the end of it. So I'm just going to put that to the side. To prepare the greeting, I just flagged it, so just do a little snip in the middle, and then from corner to the little snip, I cut that off like that, and then I cut that off. So that now I have a small flag. And then I'm going to flip that over and put a glue dot on the back, about the middle on the flat side, and that's going to hold my ribbon in place so that I can tie it. So now I'll tie that to the front and make a little bow. well, not a bow actually, I'll make a little knot. Just like this. Okay, and then I can trim that up with my scissors. And I like to cut it a little bit on an angle. I think that looks really pretty. Okay, so now I'll put that piece to the side. If you wanted to, you could also take another glue dot. Sometimes I'll do this, and I'll put it under the knot, and that just holds the ribbon in place so it's not going to move around on you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I did this watercolor background here. So what I did is I took my Tempting Turquoise ink pad and I gave it a little squish like this, and what that does is it takes the ink from the ink pad and it puts it on the lid of the ink pad. And then, so now I've got a good amount of ink here, and I'm going to take my aqua painter and I'm going to squeeze the barrel so that a few drops of water are going to go on there. And then, so now as you can see, I'm making a puddle of turquoise ink. So now I can start watercoloring. I'm just going to get a piece of scrap here, put that on my placemat, and then I'm just being very random and trying to make it all artsy and that. So then I went ahead and I did that. Okay. So then you want to put this to the side to dry. You can hit that with your embossing tool as well. And to clean your aqua painter, remember, just brush it, turn it, brush it until it comes out clear, and then you know it's ready to go. You can use a different color. So to attach the Muskoka chair, we do have adhesive sheets. So if you wanted to, you could run that through the Big Shot and then you would just be peeling that sheet off. What I did is I actually took the glue dots and I put one on the arm of the chair and one on the other arm. And you can kind of squish these up a little bit. So then I did another little one on the top of the slats of the chair there. So that's ready to go. For my greeting, I used the Stampin' Dimensionals, and again I put a little bit, so half on the ribbon and half off. It kind of holds the ribbon in place, and then over here. So now we're going to see if our watercolor paper is ready to go. Okay, so the watercolor's all set to go, so we're just going to attach it. I'm using my adhesive tape runner. I'm putting a good amount of adhesive on there, and then I'm putting it on the black mat like so. Give that a good rub, and then again adhesive on the back, and I want this one to be fairly flat. So I'm going to place that with a nice border around the three edges there, like so. And then I'll take my greeting, take off the dots, the adhesive backs there, and then I like to have a little bit at the bottom showing, just for interest there. And then I'm going to put my chair on after. And the reason I put the chair on last is that sometimes if you put this on first, your greeting, then your chair might hide behind it. And then just for a little bit of extra glitter and bling, I grabbed the Wink of Stella pen and I just added a bit of Wink of Stella on some of the slats here on the arms, just to give it a little bit of a sheen. And then you can also put a little bit in the background as well, just to give it a little bit of a shiny. Not sure if you can see that on the camera, but it's glittery. And there's your Just Breathe card, all done. Thanks for watching today. I hope you get to make this card, and please share this video with your friends, and be sure to like my channel, and if you haven't, please subscribe, and that way you can stay in touch and see all the great, fantastic, crafty things that I'm doing. Hope to see you soon. Take care for now. Bye.